So what do I want from the DLC the most? I want fucking dungeons. Hello my friends and welcome. After repeated playthroughs of Elden Ring, collecting every bauble and slaying every conceivable enemy, many players have set their sights on a possible DLC. There's no official announcement for an expansion as of today. However, given the overwhelming success the game has had, and FromSoft's track record for delivering DLC, I think it's safe to say something's coming down the pipe. What can fans expect from an expansion on an already hulking title? Maybe looking back at previous games can produce some clues. Artorias of the Abyss. This expansion for Dark Souls featured 4 new bosses, a brand new area to explore, NPCs, and more. While OOlacile's not huge in scope, it does provide content to hungry fans, with plenty to sink their teeth into. It was given an estimated 6 to 8 hours for completion. The expansion required the player to leave Lordran to the past, and was not connected to or a part of the open world. Then there's the outlier, Dark Souls 2, which received 3 DLCs. These expansions added 9 new bosses spread over 3 new areas. These DLC add a moderate amount of content to the base game, and at the time they were a very welcome addition. And of course with these new areas, you can expect all the bells and whistles. New armor, new weapons, rings, spells, and NPCs. Fast forward a bit and BAM! Bloodborne launches, and soon after comes the DLC, The Old Hunters. This DLC is similar in scope and delivery to Artorias of the Abyss. 5 new bosses, lots of new weapons, a few NPCs, and of course the Hunter's Nightmare. Again, another area detached from the main setting. The Old Hunters expansion, in my eyes, is one of the most successful DLC FromSoft has ever produced. It provides great atmosphere and arguably 3 of the best bosses in the game. Ashes of Ariandel, the first Dark Souls 3 DLC, again removes you from the expansive lands of Lothric and injects you into the snowy landscapes of Ariandel. A bit of a letdown personally. Sure, the Sister Freed fight is fantastic, but aside from that encounter, nothing feels too memorable. Dark Souls 3 received 2 expansions, the second being the Ring City. Once again we are drawn into another segregated game world, isolated from the lands the main game takes place in. The Ring City features 4 new bosses, and loads of new weapons and armor. NPCs and new enemies also litter the area. Okay, fast forward to today. What can one expect from an Elden Ring DLC? Is it possible an entirely new section of map might be added to the game? Judging by how FromSoft has handled expansions in the past, I would say this is a resounding yes. With the scope of Elden Ring's vanilla game in mind, I think players are in for a real treat. While traditionally FromSoft expansions feature just a handful of new bosses, data miner Sekiro Doobie suggests there's evidence of many more. In fact, Sekiro Doobie spotted up to 30 flag IDs that could potentially be related to the boss DLC. Additionally, information in the latest patch includes new hair, 6 new weapon categories, new AI goals, new legacy dungeon related map files, new Colosseum map files, and map changes made at most Divine Towers. While none of this is official, it's a glimpse into what's possible for Elden Ring. Will a potential expansion exist inside the already massive lands between, or perhaps even underneath? We will have to wait to find out, but the general attitude seems to be excitement. If the past is anything to go by, players can expect the most polished, well-implemented bosses in the game. DLC brought us fights like Artorias, Manus, Sir Alone, the Fume Knight, Ludwig, Lady Maria, Orphan of Kos, Midir, and Gale. I remember when the Old Hunters released. Me and my brother Aaron were both New Game Plus. Despite this, we decided to tackle the DLC without starting over on New Game. We struggled our way through the Nightmare Church and started fighting Ludwig. We fought him over and over, slowly gaining traction, and finally we defeated him. Exhilaration of the defeat soon turned to dread when we realized we had to do it again in my world. But I'll never forget the moments we shared, and to this day, Ludwig remains my favorite boss in Bloodborne. So what do I want from the DLC the most? I want fucking dungeons. At least one major dungeon similar to a Stormville or Volcano Manor. I really enjoyed this aspect of the game. In fact, after playing Elden Ring extensively, I'm not completely in love with the open world, and often long for the cramped corridors and caves of the Souls series. Not to say the open world isn't good, or wasn't a success, I just think a balance of open and linear, much like the original Dark Souls, really suits this style of combat. When can we expect news of the DLC? Assuming an expansion is in the works, I think it's safe to say it could literally be any day now. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Holy hell, it's been 9 months since Elden Ring launched. It's hard to compare the development cycles for these games because of the scope of Elden Ring. However, take into account Dark Souls 3 received its first DLC just 7 months after vanilla release. Additionally, the Old Hunters hit the scene just 8 months after Bloodborne. With the Video Game Awards rapidly approaching, it seems very likely we're going to get an announcement there regarding FromSoft. Elden Ring scooped up several trophies at the Golden Joystick Awards recently. Many expect a similar result at the Game Awards, of course including Game of the Year. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, have fun, and stay safe, my friends.